Meeting will come to order. This is a meeting of the Lakeville Conservation Commission. The date is September 29th, 2020. Good evening, everyone. Let's get rid of the legal stuff first. Members, when I please permit you to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I say your name, please respond in the affirmative. Joe.
Present.
Nancy.
Present.
Mark.
Present.
John.
Present.
Josh is absent and Bob is here. Okay, now as far as speakers on the agenda, if you could please identify yourself. We'll go with Outback Engineering first.
Elise Strip of Outback Engineering.
Thank you. On the butters, Mr. and Mrs. Metelska.
Yes, that's our properties to Edgewater. That's on the agenda to be heard tonight.
Okay,
Michael Maureen, Metelska.
very good. And also Leo Bizio.
Leo Bizio, 11 Pine Bluff.
Okay. And is there anyone else that I missed? No. All right. Let's move on then. This is an open meeting of the Lakeville Conservation Commission. It is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020. Excuse me a second. Due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. For this meeting, the Lakeville Board of Selectmen is convening by, no, the Lakeville Conservation Commission is convening by video conference via Zoom as posted on the town's website. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that folks may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. Public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for the effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. The chair will first ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses only. Once the chair has a list of all public commentators, I will call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Finally, each vote taken on this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. So, with that accomplished, let's move on. Our first agenda hearing will be for 2 Edgewater Drive, which is a continuation of a previous hearing by Outback Engineering. So if you wish to identify yourself and begin.
All right, so my name is Elise Tripp of Outback Engineering, and as Bob stated, this is a continuation from the previous meeting. And basically what we've done since then is reduce the amount of impervious surface as was requested at the previous meeting. So it was at 28.6, give or take, around there. It is now at 24.9%. So we did reduce that. And I do believe, I want to state for the record, because I believe I might have misspoke with one of the abutters previously, but as far as what's included in that percentage, it is the structures, parking, paved areas as it states, but that does not include, we made an area of the driveway gravel leading into the garage. So we did try to include some impervious surface that way as well. That was pretty much what we had discussed at the last meeting, and we incorporated that into the plan. And I'd be open to any further questions or comments if the applicants would like to state anything as well.
All right, let's go through the list. First of all, Joe, do you have any comments?
None whatsoever. They achieved what we had wanted them to deal with at the last hearing, pulling it at 25% impermeable or less, and they did that.
Okay. John?
No, I don't have any questions.
You're good. All right. And Mark? We can't hear you.
I'm also satisfied with the changes that they made based on our comments.
All right, good. Thank you. Nancy?
I'm happy too. I said before we were recording that it's really nice when we ask somebody to do something and they go do it and come back. And it's really good because of the flooding that we've had, although it's not obvious right now because we're in a severe drought, but during flooding times, it's really important to have impervious surfaces. So I'm good. I think Bob just froze.
All right. And especially a project like Impervious. I'm told I'm being unstable again. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So much for commissioners. Do we have any abutters who'd like to speak? Mr. and Mrs. Matowska?
Oh, we're the
You're
owner. Yeah.
Okay.
So Mike, did you want to?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we try to give you what you wanted, and we haven't been had the meeting. It's been continued with the zoning board of appeals as well. So I know we have the 24.9, and that's our intent to maintain that. But there could be some slight fine tuning. So I'm hoping that if you give me an approval, that you don't limit me to exactly 24.9. I have at least a little flexibility, whatever little percentage you can give me, even if it's a 0.5%, just in case I have to make a slight adjustment somewhere, without having to come back to you guys all over again. So, this is showing the concept. And I want to emphasize some of the things that changes that we make. Like, for example, the gravel driveway going to the street, the patio on the southwest corner, we made that one a lot smaller. And on the drawing itself, there may be some very minor changes, I call it. For example, the driveway going to Nelson Shore Road, I might want to shift that over by about a foot or so. So that might add, a few square feet or take off a few square feet. I don't know how the numbers will come out, but I don't want it in a sense, be locked down to precisely 24.9. So if I have a little bit of flexibility, I really appreciate that between the ZBA and whatever my building needs to do.
I think we just lost Bob again.
You're the vice chairman.
Yes, I would say, probably Mark is going to say about the same thing. Once we vote on a plan of record, that's it, right?
Well, I was going to say, if somebody was to make a motion, that we would make it pending the zoning board of appeals hearing. So
That has not been resolved yet?
The ZBA has their own issues that we've been continuing with them already.
Okay.
Okay, I got it. Joe?
Yes.
Also, when
back.
we write the order of conditions and they have a plan, they're gonna have to do an as-built afterwards to get a certificate of compliance. So we'll
Right.
see how far off it went.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I would expect if I had to change something, for example, if I went patio over by a foot, I'd take it off someplace else. I do plan to keep it there. I'm just saying, if anything came down to like, I'm like 10 square feet, off or something like that, I don't want to, hopefully not create a problem.
Right. Well, we're not in the habit of adding on, or you can do more or less, whatever. We give you the order of conditions on the plan that you did. And when you want to get a certificate of compliance, you come back to us with an as-built. And on that as-built, it will show exactly what was done. If it comes back on the as-built as 28%, then we'd probably take further action.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't go anywhere in that number. It's not going to pave the gravel driveway, for example. I'm talking about, I get that simple example. I'm not sure how the math will come out, shifting that driveway over by a foot. It just might change it by a couple of square feet here and there. So I just want to double check things.
Hey, Joe, Mark's trying to talk.
Bob, you're muted. There you go.
There he is.
So I think Nancy brings up a good point, and I don't think that we can grant relief over the 25%. I think that's up to the Zoning Board of Appeals. That's why I suggest that if we were to make a motion, that it would be subject to the Zoning Board of Appeals hearing for any relief over the lot coverage allowed. But to Mr. Martowska's point, if they allowed him a few percent, I would agree to that if it was a 0.5% over 25% without an issue. But I do think they were already at 28 and they came down to 24.9. I think to hit Mr. Martowska's point, a 0.5% is reasonable to say if they ended up at 25.2. And
Right, that's all I'm saying. The concept is real. That won't change.
Pending Zoning Board of Appeals relief for the lot coverage over the residential allowance.
Excellent.
Fair enough. Any other questions?
Ready for a motion?
Well, someone looks to be trying to.
Looks like we
speak here.
someone else who's looking to speak.
I think he's muted.
Yeah.
Is that Bill?
There you go.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask some questions?
Go ahead. Could you just speak up a little bit, please?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, there's a change of 770 square feet from the prior diagram. When I looked at the two diagrams, I couldn't determine where that was. Is there somebody that can show me? Probably I could touch base with Elise or something afterwards to find out where those change, because the diagrams look pretty much the same to me.
So I might be able to help a little on that, Elise here. So we kind of trimmed the fat, so to speak. So the driveway itself, it's trimming off all the edges, a couple square feet here and there, and a long driveway. It does add up quick, but it's pieces, small pieces here and there. So it's nothing that looks as blatantly obvious, but I do understand how it can be hard to see that just on the outset. But we did trim it. It's really along the driveway edges and kind of trimming down the turnaround size and the like.
Okay, I'll take a close look at that. Thank you.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think Comcast needs the speaker to identify himself.
My name is Bill Trabou. I live at 4 Edgewater Drive.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think
The other thing, if I do the calculation, according to the diagram, the impervious square footage is 7,893. If you do the math like you did on the previous one, that comes out to 25.9%, not 24.9%. So it's over the 25%. Just a point of clarification.
I would have to double check and can definitely check with the the engineers and the surveyors on it and get some double or clarification on the verification on the math.
Okay, thank you. Just because I'm new at this, I just had some general questions. Topography map was dated 4/29/2019. And this map is dated 2020. Does that make any difference that the topography is a year older? No?
Not generally, as far as, you know, in that year time, that's pretty much as up to date, and that's what we usually use. I'm not as well spoken on how that's determined, but I'm not sure if one of the other commission members would have additional information on that. But I believe that's pretty standard.
Because there has been a change in vegetation since that time. That's
Well, so the topography isn't necessary. So like the topography is in like some of that slope and the vegetation on that, we're kind of trying to pick up the larger scale changes. So if there's a tree change, we usually only do some of those larger trees and the like. We don't quite get as detailed just for some of these plans, but it kind of depends.
I'm sorry. Some of the larger trees were removed. Just so you know that. What is NAV D88 datum? What does that mean?
So that is one of the, it's basically, it's that the main source of, so it kind of comes down to LiDAR, and basically all this information is on like a satellite imagery, and it's all collected, and that's the datum it's all collected on, and that's kind of the, you know, nationwide, you know, that's what's used across the industry. But I'm probably butchering the explanation. I'm not a surveyor, but that's usual. That's the standard of what is used in commissions and zoning and the like.
So that is tied in with the 4/29/2019 date of the topography map. Because I saw 88, I'm saying, what is that? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's not 1988 or anything like that. But that might be something too that I know zoning might actually be able to provide some more information on that. As I know some of the gentlemen on it are land surveyors, and they could definitely give you a much better explanation than I did on as far as the datum goes.
Okay, thank you. And the question is the elevation at the lowest point of the driveway turnaround. Because at that point, there's a slope that goes down to our property.
Mm-hmm.
We've had, continue to have problems with drainage over to our property.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious, we don't want to have runoff from that. Okay, that's kind of a question. So,
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't mean anything, but it is a concern of ours.
I definitely, yeah, I understand that to be of course a valid concern, given the amount of impervious. But I think the way we kind of think about it is it won't be that much. However, that's me saying that, and I'm not as well versed in the. I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. As far as some of the stormwater calculations go.
Okay. Maybe this is outside the conservation, but behind the proposed garage, there is a tree stump that's, because of the buildup of the property, it's a 3.5 foot deep hole, and it's about 5 feet wide. And, with the garage and how the runoff's we're concerned about that being a potential man-made potential runoff situation. Can that be addressed?
I mean, I think I'll divert to the applicants on this, given what they're, comfortable with on it's something I believe it can be addressed. But I'm not as sure where or what the applicants would feel comfortable with on that end.
Okay.
Joe,
Yes.
I think Bob's gone. I think you're in charge.
Yeah, Bob is gone again.
Yeah.
The Matauskas have a question?
I wanted to address a couple of points. One of the points is the turnaround the driveway. If you look at the old plan, I had the turnaround going to Mr. Strabou's property. And when I reconfigured it, I had it going more closer to being parallel to my house going towards the lake. And if you look at the elevations, it's actually more likely to have water running down towards the lake than their property compared to it was in the original plan I submitted to the board. So I did take that into account, trying to minimize that runoff. As far as that pit by the driveway, by the garage that they're talking about, if I have the correct location there, there was a tree there that we did cut down. It did have a well around it to protect that tree until, it came down. Obviously, that would get filled in. When I start, getting all this building done, there will be some, obviously, bulldozing going on and reshaping the yard. I do want, in a sense, flatten my yard as much as possible. I can't, think of how much dirt I have, stuff like that. I am going to try to absorb as much of the water through my own lawn. Why not use the rain to water my lawn to get as much of the water in my yard as possible? But I do see, for example, maybe moving some of the dirt towards the fork in the road of Nelson Shore Road and Edgewater Drive. That might get raised up a little bit more, then drop down a little quicker towards the fork at the end versus the slow pitch it has now. Things like that. So, there'll be some different grading, but I don't plan to leave wells there because they were there for the purpose of the trees, and the trees are gone, the wells will get filled in.
Who did we just pick up?
That's Bob.
Coming
Okay.
back in.
Oh, she's muted.
She's muted.
Good now?
Yeah, good.
Okay, we had a connection failure. I've got them now.
Okay.
Nice to see everyone again. Did I miss anything important?
Long time no see.
Sorry for the interruption. Where are we?
This is Bill Trabou at 4 Edgewater Drive, and I was just asking some questions that Elise Tripp was answering for me.
Okay. So any more questions?
Just one thing that I don't know if you were present at the time I brought it up, but the current square footage on the impervious area is 7,893 square feet. And I just mentioned that based on the slot size of 30,490, that comes out to 25.9%, not 24.9%. So I think Elise said she was going to go back and maybe check a little bit on that and see what makes that up.
Yep, and I can definitely provide that for the commission. Sorry, Nancy.
Bob,
Yeah, go ahead.
this is a stamped plan. This is a stamped plan by a surveyor, and it's stamped and dated. So I'm just having a hard time with the percent not being right.
It could be perhaps like some way it's calculated. I'm not entirely sure what goes into it. As far as, when they're doing the math, if there's something that has to be taken out or put in or the like. So I apologize. I can't shed more light on it.
Well, what we can do is if we do close the hearing tonight, we can make it pending a receipt from Outback with any review of the footage, whether there's a change. And we probably ought to give them some latitude in there as far as just what percent we've got.
And another thing that came up, Bob, was the stormwater calculations.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have the full file, but was there a stormwater part?
No,
Yes.
so that's not usually required or needed in this kind of case.
Okay.
But the concerns raised by the butter regarding it and to Maureen and Michael's point, which I'm not sure if you heard or not, Bob, but the driveway before there was a little turnaround area that was closer. So they moved that. Or it could be something that, like if it's a big enough concern or creates a big enough issue that if we maybe raise the grade a little just to help ensure, I'm not exactly sure how feasible something that small might be able to help offset concerns or make people feel more comfortable.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think a foot one way or the other is going to make a whole lot of difference.
Yeah.
And it's something we can, if we need to, change with the plan of record. We can do so at that time. It just on a side note, since we're having these technical problems, should it happen again, Mark, would you mind taking over and continuing the meeting?
As long as Joe doesn't mind.
No, no problem at all. I jumped in a couple of times when you took a vacation there.
Either way, it doesn't matter to me.
Right.
But I hate to make everybody wait if this is going to be a continuing problem.
Understood. Yeah, no problem at all. Between me and Joe, we'll take care of it.
Very good. Thank you.
I do have one other question for Elise, based on the lot coverage.
Yeah.
And the percentage brought up by the abutter. You had said that a lot of the reduction was by like squeezing down the driveway and paving here and there. Did you convert anything to pervious material?
Yes. So we made the entrance going into the garage is a gravel now versus that was a paved. So it's a small chunk there, but well, I guess it's pretty wide. So that's where we did some of the impervious, and then we took out some of the proposed patio. We shrunk that a little bit, but we did make that gravel entrance to the garage pervious gravel.
All right, so I guess my question is that included in the 7,893?
No, so, and that's actually, so at the beginning, and I believe I might have misspoke with one of the abutters, but I did confirm with the gentleman who put this together this afternoon that gravel driveway is not included in that percentage.
Okay. All right, so I guess you will need to just check those percentages, because I was just wondering if you guys had included 1% pervious, included it in your parking and paved areas, total footage, but it would be the reduction for the pervious, but not the parking and, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just to check that, and if we make a motion tonight, we clearly will make
basically
request for clarification on lot coverage.
Perfect, yeah.
All right.
I have nothing else.
I
Great,
have
thank
one
you.
more question, Mr. Bouchard.
Yes.
This is Bill again. I think when I talked to you, and correct me if I'm wrong, obviously, you mentioned there might be some vegetation required with approval of this plan. And if there is it required that the vegetation be maintained? For instance, you could put something in and it dies. Do you have to replace it?
In our order of conditions, we will stipulate whether or not there's any areas and to what degree they remain to be vegetated, and over what period of time they have to survive. You want to throw anything else in there, Nancy?
Yes, because you're going to have to get a certificate of compliance, and that requires an as-built. I did say this while you weren't there too, Bob, that when the as-built comes back, you won't get a certificate of compliance, which will take the order of condition off your deed until the things are done. So if we come back for a certificate of compliance and all the vegetation is dead, then you'll have to replace it.
Okay. Is that good? Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, through you to the Matauskas, it obviously is much to the advantage of the Matauskas to maintain any growth they have, because any growth that dies, they're leaving the soil open to erosion. And all you need is one of these frog strangler downpours that puts down 6 inches in 45 minutes, and half your lot would disappear into the pond. So obviously it's much to your advantage to keep things growing as much as possible. Nice thick lawn, bushes, so forth, to hold the soil.
Yeah, that the slope on the pond side of the house is pretty steep.
There's a
And
sea slope,
like you're
yeah.
saying, if it's not maintained, it's not going to survive, and it's all just going to wash out.
That's where we currently get the drainage, the washout now.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Anybody else?
You
All right,
ready for a motion?
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to close the hearing and issue an order of conditions with all of our standard conditions. Plus, there is a condition from the last meeting that I have documented here, which is any remaining trees to be cut will be marked and the stumps are to be ground and the roots left intact. Also, pending clarification of the percent lot coverage and ZBA approval.
Second that motion.
Okay. Nancy, you'll write that up for me?
Yep, I will.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I have a question.
Yes?
I want to understand that comment about the stump grinding. For example, there's a tree stump that's inside the garage. I assume that gets dug out versus being ground down and being below the slab for the garage. I mean, I'm not sure I understand what that requirement is.
That would have to be removed.
So wherever I have like a foundation, if there's a stump in a foundation area, like a stairway, they will come out, but anything else should be ground.
Right.
Okay, let's
Yeah, I
make sure.
think-
I don't want to break any rules. I had to make sure I understood it.
Yep. Bob will keep an eye on that, I think,
Yeah.
right, Bob?
Yeah, we'll take your contractor's recommendation into consideration. What makes the most sense?
And, oh, one other question. And obviously, when I say ground, if it's low enough and my lawn's going to cover it anyways, I don't need to grind it. It'll be underground. So that'd still be
No, I
fine.
don't think so. No. No one else? All right, so we have a second. All those in favor? Well, we've got to do a roll call. So let's start. Joseph,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Nancy.
Aye.
Bob says yes. So motion carries. Your business. You'll be hearing from us in a few weeks with some paperwork.
And I
And,
will,
otherwise proceed and good luck.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you
Oh.
all.
I'll follow up as soon as possible with those verifications for you, okay?
Okay, that's good. You know where to find me.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Good night all.
Right.
Right.
All right, next. Leo, finally. Leo has applied for a Chapter 91 license, and we chatted this afternoon a little bit with some of the few details that I had, but I'm satisfied right now that we should proceed. And I also spoke with Nancy that had she had some good recommendations on how we might speed up the process on Leo's behalf. So let's start with Leo. Why don't you just give us a short summary on what you're proposing to do?
Okay, I'm just gonna do a dock approximately around 40 feet out from the wall that I already have previously there, the retaining walls that I have there, and have a set of stairs going down to the dock, the aluminum stairs going down to the dock, and then just like 4 sections of the dock, 8-foot sections roughly. And that's it. It's gonna be seasonal. I'm gonna take it out, in and out. And
How much of it is going to be new construction, a new material?
oh, it's all gonna be aluminum dock that I'm gonna buy. The
But
south
there's
side
already
roof.
existing material.
Oh, the existing wall that I have there, that's my Ready Rock wall. I have
Right.
the stairs going from my Ready Rock wall down to the dock.
And you're not making any changes to that?
Nope, nope,
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify.
yeah.
So anyone else have questions or comments?
Just
None for me.
Just to be clear, Leo, this is one of those docks with the wheels and sections. You'll roll it out, attach the
No,
next
I
section.
won't be able to, I get to take it apart. I can't roll it out. There's no room for me to roll this out. So I'm gonna have, the ones that are self-level, you just take your wall drill and you level it all out.
Okay,
And just pick them up and
Yeah,
carry
you
them.
pick them up. Yeah, it's 3 or 4 sections. You just connect them together and then you just level them.
and then in this time of year, you'll take it back out of the water.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I understand. Very good.
Right. Now, this is a license application and Leo has filled out the majority of it. It's like 10 pages long and the rest is filled out by the state, by DEP. They call it a simplified application. It is by no means simplified. The language is, as usual, is complicated. But it looks like he's met all the criteria, and what remains is to submit the application to DEP.
Already did that.
And
Already
we've
did
gotten
that.
various information on how to do this. Originally, I was under the assumption we would wait to see if they required an RDA or not. It looks like it's going to be anyway. So what Nancy recommended is, why don't we just go ahead and do an RDA and submit the package all together? And Leo, if you recall, when we first met on this, I said that might be the outcome, and it might be the quick way to get it done.
Yeah.
You, in essence, submitted all the information. What remains is for us to just take it and put it in a 2-page application and attach it to your application and submit it to DEP. It would mean another brief hearing like we've just done tonight, but actually, no, we wouldn't have to.
I already submitted it. I already submitted it to DEP.
Did you?
The notice has been.
And the notice has been in the paper and everything. I did everything.
I know you noticed it. Well, in that case, maybe it's advisable if it's going to be adequate, let's just sit on it and see what they say.
Yeah.
If they want
Okay.
an RDA, we'll give it to them.
Yeah, it's not like I'm putting a dock in this year anyways.
I know. It's a complicated thing. It shouldn't be. What do you think, Nancy?
Well, right on the application, Leo, I'm surprised you didn't see it. Anything after 1984, it should be accompanied by a negative determination of applicability. It's on page 3, under coordination with Conservation Commission. So they're kind of saying that you need it. I mean, if you can think you can get away without it, but I would hate to have you get going and then find out at the 9th hour that you need it, because it's so easy for us to give you a negative determination. You might as well get
Okay.
it.
We
Whatever you
could
wanna do.
just submit it after the fact. We've got, like I said,
Right.
we've got the information. We could just submit it and as a separate and could be covered that way.
Whatever you wanna
Craig,
do.
if I get up, am I going to get logged off?
I don't think so.
All right, I just need to go get some paperwork. I'll be right back.
Could we make a motion tonight to issue a negative determination?
That was my recommendation this afternoon when I talked to Bob.
Right, and I just think even if it's just belt and suspenders and even if it doesn't,
Right, and they're asking for it, so I hate to have to go through this all over again, because I don't want to say it's a waste of our time, but we really don't have much to say about it anyway. It's all under DEP. We always just pass it along to them anyway, so let's get them out of here so we don't have to see them again.
Nancy,
it's really not.
can you issue a determination if you don't have an official request?
Well, Bob says we can say, we could probably make a motion that when we receive it, we will issue a negative determination, and he'll have to get it to us.
What I
Bob
don't
can
want
help him fill it out.
What I don't want to see is 2 different pieces of paper going to
Exactly.
DEP at different times. I want it all in the same package for Leo.
But he already sent it in, so it can't all be in the same package.
That's right. You already sent the whole thing in, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then we'll have to do after the fact.
Nancy, I must have a different form than you because I've looked at it every possible way and I cannot find that reference.
On page
Yeah.
3, it
On
was
page
on
3.
Leo's app. I looked it up online, and it says instructions for Chapter 91 Simplified Waterways License Application.
No, I'm looking at the one that was given to me by Leo and if I'm missing it, then
I don't have it here
Yeah,
either.
we didn't see
I don't
that.
have it.
It's not on mine.
It was with the instructions. It's not on your actual form. It's on the instructions. What's on your actual form is that it's after 1984.
Yeah, I looked at the right off the website, the DP website.
Yeah.
All right, well, it is what it is. If we hear from DEP, we'll act accordingly. We've got the information. I'll put the RDA together, and if necessary, we'll submit it. I
Well,
think in any case,
Leo has to submit it. We can't
well,
submit it for him.
that's what I meant. But I think in any case, we should vote on it right now. So do I have somebody want to make a motion?
Make a motion to issue a -3 determination.
Oh, no, wait a minute. It can't be 3, I don't think.
Right.
Hold on.
-2 in this case, I think, right?
Yeah, I do too. -2.
Sounds,
Motion to approve the RDA with a -2 determination for the dock at 11 Pine Bluff.
Second.
okay. So once again, we'll go by roll call. Joe,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
Bob, aye. Leo, I almost asked you for a vote.
Aye.
All right, motion carries then. So we'll deal with it as time goes by.
Yeah,
All right,
we'll see how it happens, what happens.
very
Okay,
good. Well, good luck. Sorry for the
thank you.
delay.
Good luck,
no
Leo.
Good
problem.
luck.
Thank you, guys.
Right.
Okay, so long. All right, we still have 2 more items left. Joe, I think they're both in your court. If you want to give us a brief summary on the remaining 2 issues.
One is a request from the Clark Shores Water Association. Their order of conditions, SC 192-772, which covers the water system installation, is near to expiration. It was good for 3 years. They knew the process would take about 5. So now they're asking for a classic 3-year renewal of the order of conditions so that the work on the water system can continue.
They just want an extension or a,
Just an extension. Yeah, that's all. Nothing changes.
Okay.
This is basically basic paperwork.
Yeah, that's rather routine. We do those kinds of things all the time, so I don't have
All the
any.
time. So we have that request.
Mr.
Nancy?
Chairman, is it for another 3 years or a year? I'm
Actually, we
I'm
can make,
rusty on that.
we can make it whatever we want. Actually, the initial plan called for 5 years, and the initial order of conditions was for 3 years. So if we do another 3 years, or we could do 2, but nothing changes. The order of conditions hasn't changed. The conditions there haven't changed. It's just a matter of them doing the work down there, getting through all that ledge and everything, and hooking, running the lines down all the streets and all that sort of stuff.
We could extend it for another 3 years with a review after the first.
Sure.
Good
Absolutely.
enough?
Sure.
we need a motion for that?
Yes, we do.
I can make that motion.
Go ahead.
I make the motion that we extend the order of conditions, SC 192-772, for the Clark Shores Water System order of conditions for 3 years after a review after the first year of the extension.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye,
Oh, aye.
unless you want to roll.
I don't know if we have to in this case.
I think it's aye all around.
Aye.
I recognize your faces. That's good enough. All right, so, and one more, Robbins Lane.
Okay, Bob, you may have some memory of this. If you go down Robbins Lane all the way to the very end, just where it connects with, I guess, Beech Tree Drive,
Right.
there is this little 10-foot wide right of way that goes down to the water. Some years back, they did some cutting of brush. Somebody did some cutting of brush there to access the property. The next door neighbor, who has since moved, was very much against anyone using this deeded right of way. I was down there with a couple of the people that wanted to do some more cutting so they could just walk down there. The previous neighbor had put a couple of big boulders in the way, so you couldn't put a vehicle down there or move a trailer with a boat on it or anything. According to the assessors, the owners of that piece of property is an entity which I don't even think exists anymore, called Huckleberry Associates or something like that,
Mhm.
which are like 2 years in arrears on whatever the tax is on that little piece of property. We asked around all the different neighbors to try to figure out who exactly has, the right to use the property or who originally had it. The original neighbors up on the high part of Robbins Lane had that, it was Knoll View Associates or something like
Right.
that. Okay. And then as Robbins Lane went around the corner and the later houses were put in there, 4 more new houses, they were given rights to that property. And of course, we don't even know if that's a legit thing or anything like that. No one even knows what the association is there. I'm trying to think, Bob, was it you that I was down there with?
Once. And we attempted to notify them. We sent them a nice legal looking
Right.
letter a while back, and it got returned, unidentified or something.
Exactly. In fact, Nancy, I think you may have been down there with us.
I was.
on that day. Isn't that the day I got locked out of my truck?
Yeah, well, that was on drainage farther
That
up
was
the
a
road
different-
that I locked you out of your truck. Yeah.
Yeah, a different problem. But we remember.
Isn't this something you can call vista pruning that doesn't need any kind of permit?
That's exactly what I told them. I said vista pruning.
Good enough for
Right?
us.
All we want to do is be able to walk down there with a couple of little kids and not get
Yeah.
scratched up, because it's really grown up since the last time anyone did any cutting.
But they did
every
do
time
some
you
trim.
do cutting of brush, you spur root growth, so it comes back twice as thick.
Yeah, they did do some trimming before, and it did cause some disturbance with the forest down there.
Yep.
But it settled down after a while. But I don't have any problems with doing it.
You really don't need any kind of permitting for vista pruning. It's called
No.
out pretty clearly.
Except you have to make sure that you put something in writing so that the person who comes down to do vista pruning doesn't come down with as big as backhoe.
Yeah. Well, I'll put together a letter, and hopefully I'll go through the file and see if I can find the entity that we dealt with before. And if it includes the person you spoke to,
Yeah,
we'll send them a letter that says, do what you've got to do, but be careful.
No
I
big
have
machinery.
contact information for the guy. As a matter of fact, he lives in that house that we were looking at on
Right.
that
Okay.
trip. The very last house that was built sort of into the hill that had the problem with water running out of the hill. So I'm sure we can handle this though, but it is agreed that we can write that letter to allow vista pruning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'll get back to that. I'll get the information on that person, and you see, Bob, what you can find.
All right.
I think that Knoll View Associates or whatever it is actually is on paper the actual owner of the property.
Yeah, there is. There's two. That's the problem.
Right.
There's two. And your friend, who's Bob, what's his name? I'm trying to remember his last name. Has the problem with the frog pond that keeps.
Oh yeah.
Nashawati.
Nashawati. Yeah,
That's
Mike
it.
Nashawati.
Thank you. He's still looking for us or someone to do something to help him out.
Yeah, because they're getting, as they build more and more there, they just, you add more impervious area and you add to the runoff.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping once the house was built and the lot was, landscaped, and it might have gotten better. So I think it's still too early to tell. We'll see what it's like after this year.
Okay.
Anyone else? We're good. Did anyone look at the minutes?
Well, no, we have.
Yeah, we looked at them last time.
Do we have something under new business?
What was there?
New business?
What's that?
That was the 26 Mill Street
Disaster.
violation. I'm not even sure, Bob, if you even heard about that. We get a call about a week and a half ago, basically through DEP. I think their computer system that they use, the satellite system that they subscribe to, noticed a change. And I went down there and there was an area that was obviously wetland vegetation. I guess there was a lot of poison sumac in it, and the owner of the house, although the house is quite a ways back up on the hill,
Okay.
is very allergic to poison sumac. So she got someone to go in there and cut a bunch of poison sumac and, with a piece of equipment and dig up a lot of the vegetation. Then they brought in some of the siltiest, sandiest stuff you ever saw in the world to, try to stabilize the banks. And they even did some spray of the, the seed, the grass seed with the fertilizer and everything in it like that. I don't think that's doing any good.
No.
Now, both John and Mark took a look up there and I'd like to see what they think about it.
No, I haven't heard anything about it.
I think the choice of sand is a horrible decision.
Horrible decision, yeah.
I think that
Nothing to bind it.
that should be definitely removed.
And that's the soil in the middle is clearly hydric soil. I mean, I don't know how dark down it is on the Munsell soil charts, but it's good black stuff.
Yeah,
And then
it
there's
looks
sandy
like-
stuff.
It looks like they rototilled cat nine tails,
Right, yes.
and then they embanked sand down into it, and then
Yep.
they squirted a little bit of hydro seed on the sand.
Yep, that's about it. That's about it. And that will probably get washed away with the rain we're going to get tonight and tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. So what do we need to do from here? Are they looking for any further action?
No, I've spoken to the owner, who is 26 Mill Street, is Sandra Kelly, and her mom lived there. And they have I'm not sure what swamp it is that's behind their house, which feeds some water down to that area. And just a little ways up the road is Dunham Road. And when they put in houses there about 15 years ago, that increased a lot of the water down
Oh, yeah.
into that area. And she's got a culvert goes under the driveway, and somewhere along the line, like an oil truck turning around in the driveway, crushed part of this culvert. So she's got blocked flow, and there was just water running all over the place. I checked on the GIS maps. That doesn't really show wetland there, but clearly there is a small amount. I mean, you're looking at the obviously hydric soils. I think what we should do, and I've already explained this to the person, I said, go find a local engineer and say, hey, look, this is what I've done, and I got to make it right, and what do I have to do? So we should send a letter. I'll give you the information
All right.
tomorrow or something, and you can crank out the letter and let them know that it is a violation, and we'd like something taken care of. Because if you leave it like it is, all that sandy soil, John and Mark, it's just going to wash right in there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So we need a plan of how they're gonna restore the area?
Yep.
Well, I think that they just need an engineer to confirm, because like Joe said, it doesn't really show wetlands on, is it GIS or something? Like that? However, it does clearly look like it's either wetlands or it's an old drainage swale that may be considered part of a wetland.
Mhm.
So I think they need an engineer or a wetland scientist to identify what they have before we demand that they do something.
All right. So maybe can we put on the next agenda to talk about what happens? Because it wasn't on this agenda, so.
All right.
Well,
Do that.
And we're talking about it with the neighbors not knowing
We
or
throw it under new business, and that's why we have to put it on the agenda for next time.
next
right.
time. Okay, all right. That's
All right.
And I will make contact. I'll give her a call, because I've been updating her, and because I told her last time we were going to meet last Tuesday, and then I
That
got
didn't
hold of her and
work.
said, well, that didn't go so well, so we put it off for another week. So I'll update her.
Maybe they could attend the meeting, but to all of this,
Formally, yeah.
even if it's not a wetland, they're not doing themselves any favor if the culvert under the driveway is the drainage source for what they just poured a bunch of sand into.
Right. And the thing is, whatever work's done there, that's their only driveway in and out. So whatever's done has to be done, rather quickly.
Well, honestly, it probably is a swale that, when that culvert got crushed, became a wetland.
Yeah. Well, when they put those houses in on Dunham Road, the natural slope was away from Dunham Road. So there's a natural swale running parallel to Dunham Road, which comes in at the confluence of Mill Street and what's the other one there? Starts with an M. What's that street?
Malbone.
Melbone. And then just runs along the edge, comes down the hill, runs all the way there, and it sort of keeps on going too. You know, neither the GIS nor my GPS, the GPS is usually show wetland areas, didn't indicate anything. But it's, you know, obviously it's been there for quite some time. And they never really had a problem until that culvert got crushed. And then, you know, the wetland area a little further down the other side of the culvert, you know, if it isn't cleaned out, it sort of adds up and slows the flow and so forth. Next thing you know, you got all kinds of wetland growth and, you know, the poison sumac. I don't know where that came from. That was on both sides of the road. I don't know. I don't know what it looked like before, so I have no idea how many trees and vegetation was removed. But you can see, like you say, it looked like they ran a rototiller right through this, this drainage swale.
But all that sand is going to plug the rest of that culvert. So
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
All right, can I make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes of July 28th, 2020?
You
I'll
certainly
second.
can. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. I guess that's it. Thank you all.
motion to adjourn.
If anybody, I'll be in the office for a little while tomorrow morning. And hopefully, if all goes well, I'll be back to full-time next week, but we'll see.
How you feeling?
Really good.
I feel great,
Excellent.
Ted.
I'll send you that motion too for
Okay.
2 Edgewater.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
So I'll talk to you all later.
All right.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
So did the motion to adjourn carry?
Yeah, motion
Oh,
carries.
yes, it did.